Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hastaamalakeeyam uvacha. Repeat. Hastaamalakeeyam. Naham manushyah. Nacha deva yakshau. Na brahmana kshatriya vaishya shudraha. Na brahmachari. Na trivanastha. Ikshur nachaham. Nijabodha rupaha. So we saw that Adi Shankara asked Hastaamalakeeyam, who are you, where are you coming from, where are you going, like that. And then for that, this is the answer he is giving, not in a typical manner, but it shows what kind of understanding Hastaamalakeeyam already had as a child. In fact, if you read the Shankara Vidya story, so there is, it seems that the other Sishyas of Shankara had a doubt, how did Hastaamalakeeyam have such a knowledge even as a child, okay? So for that there is one more story is there. It is that Hastaamalakeeyam's mother, when he was very young, like 1 year old or 2 year old, she went to take bath in the river. And on that river bank, one yogi or jnani was sitting. And she just kept the child near that yogi, who was not even aware of the surroundings really, but she just told him that you take care of the child, I'll take bath and come. But the child, that whoever was sitting there, that person was not attentive at all, because he was quite absorbed in his own whatever. So the child went into the water and it drowned. Then the mother comes back and she is very distraught that the child is dead and all that. So then the yogi, then only this fellow gets up. And then they say that he did a parakaya pravesha. So he said that okay, he left his body and entered the body of the child. And that is what, that person only is really there now. And that's why he is not interested in anything. Okay, it is a story like that also is there in the tradition. That's how Hastaamalakeeyam, or we have to say like I told you, correct? That he is a yoga parishta but born with lot of Purva Janma samskara, whatever was there, it is still there right now. But whichever way you take it, so he has explained that he has no identification with this body mind sense complex, no identification as belonging to a particular varna or belonging to a particular ashrama, and he is only identifying himself as Nijabodha Rupaha, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma alone Aham, like this. The answer is there. Then the actual, how it is possible that how can one be this Brahman? That is the next question, correct? You say that Aham Nijabodha Rupaha, how is this possible? Means then the next 12 verses are the actual Hastaamalakeeyam. The first 2 verses we saw before is from the Shankara Vidya actually. So this is there in the Bhujanga Prayata Chandas. Okay. The previous 2 are Indra Vajra Chandas, which is a different meter. And in this, in fact, another interesting thing here is Adi Shankara was so happy listening to these 12 verses. He said that he has written a commentary for them. So there is actually Hastaamalakeeyam Bhashya also is there, supposed to have written by Shankara himself. So this is the only case where the Guru has written a Bhashya for whatever has been composed by the Shishya, they say. And in fact, he even refers to the Shishya as Acharya in the Bhashya. So I was reading that Bhashya, and he refers to Hastaamalakeeyam himself as Acharya Upanishati, like that he writes that Acharya is now. In fact, the introduction to this Hastaamalakeeyam in that Bhashya, whether actually Adi Shankara wrote it or some other Sankaracharya wrote it, we don't know, but at least in the tradition it is believed that it is written by Adi Shankara only. And there the introduction is like this. In fact, how he introduces it is that everybody really wants only happiness, correct? And they want to avoid dukkha. This is universal. But then where do people search for this happiness? Means it is only Vishaya Sukha, only people are searching for pleasure derived from sense objects, which is natural. That is the natural tendency of all human beings. But only very few amongst them really understand that Vishaya Sukha can never be without Dukkha Mishritvam. Right? Little bit of Dukkha is always involved in any Vishaya Sukha. Why? Because to get the Vishaya Sukha, Vishaya Janya Sukha itself, you have to spend so much effort and whatever. So unless you spend something, you cannot gain. That itself is a problem. Then otherwise also I said that even after you gain that, maintaining it itself is a problem. And even if you maintain it well, it will one day go away. After it goes also, it is a problem. So Anityatvam also is there, Dukkha Mishritvam is there. So it is mixed with Dukkha, and also it is transient, it's not going to last forever. So after the separation also you are going to have Dukkha. So the one who understands that is the one who really wants to get out of samsara. That's what the Acharya is giving the introduction like that. And once you want to get out of this samsara itself as a whole, correct? You are not looking for some transient pleasure or happiness. Instead, you want to permanently solve this fundamental problem that I am a samsari itself is a problem, correct? I want to get rid of this notion that I am a samsari. And such a person is rare, but only rare people actually have this vairagya with reference to the Vishaya Sukha. But then what? Now they have to know themselves as asamsari, correct? That can only become, you can gain it only through jnanam. So you also then understand that only this whole samsaritam is due to ajnanam. Therefore I require jnanam. And that jnanam only now this Acharya is now Upadishati. Like that he starts the Bhashya beautifully. So he says this Acharya is now teaching that jnanam which will free you from this samsara. So in that context, the first verse, let us see. Nimittam manaschakshuradi pravruttau nirasthakilopadhirakasha kalpaha ravirloka cheshta nimittam yathayaha sanityopadabdhi swarupohamatma. So this sanityopadabdhi swarupohamatma will keep on repeating. Okay? Or at least, it's in fact repeating in almost all the verses, I think. The last pada is the same. Sanityopadabdhi swarupoham atma. Only the 12th verse is different. So all the 11 verses have that Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupoham Atma. That Nija Bodha Rupaha also was there in previously, but same thing is continuing. So the idea is that how this Atma is this Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupaha. Okay? But it is this eternal conscious being. Okay? That is this Atma. And what is the nature of this Atma? Nimittam manas chakshuradi pravruttau. Okay, like that it is starting. Okay, here another interesting discussion in that Bhashya I was reading is that there is no Mangalacharanam for this, correct? So generally our people will raise one objection. They say that if the book does not have a Mangalacharanam, it is not worth studying. So there is no Mangalacharanam here. Straight away it is starting as Nimittam, like that. So then Bhashyakara is giving a Samadhana saying that Mangalacharanam can be of 3 types. It can be Kayikam, Vachikam and Manasam. Here Kayika, Vachika, Mangalacharana is not there, we know that. But since the work has been successfully completed and is available now, the Acharya must have done Manasa Mangalacharanam, must have been done, that we are now inferring like that. Therefore there is no dosha, we can continue studying the verse like that. Also there is one note is there, interestingly. Okay, and then so we start with this Manas Chakshuradi Pravrittav, that is one compound. Okay, Manas Chakshuradi Pravrittav. So Manas Chakshushi means the Manas and Chakshush, Adi joins with that. And then so those who are interested in grammar point, it is actually Manas Chakshuradi means Adihi is a Bahuri. Manascha Chakshuscha Adihi Yesham. For all the things which are starting with Manas and Chakshus. But here also the Adi has to join with both Manas and Chakshus. Understand that? Mana Adi, Chakshuradi, like that. Mana Adi means what? Then again, we have 4 things we say, correct? So Manas, Manaha, Buddhihi, all those things, correct? Mano, Buddhi, Ahankara, Chittam, like that we have 4. That is the Mana Adi here. And Chakshuradi means all the whatever organs, whether it is Jnanendriya or Karmendriya, all of them have to be taken, Chakshuradi. So the 10 organs, 5 sense organs and 5 organs of action. And Pravrittav. Pravrittav means what? Swa Vyapare. Means in their own activities they are pursuing. In their pursuit. Pravrittav means basically literally means in their pursuit. What are they pursuing? Means they are pursuing their own some activity, correct? Each sense organ goes after its own sense objects. That is its work. Okay, so in their own, when they are engaged in their own activities, nimittam, the cause for them to do their own activity. So which is the one which causes them to actually function in the way they are functioning? That Atma is me. Like that we have to connect, okay? So the connection is what? You have to connect it like this. Nimitta is the cause, the hetu. So the cause for the mind and the sense organs and the organs of action to function in the way they are functioning, that is this Atma alone, Aham Atma, I am the Atma. By this, what is established very clearly straight away is that this Atma is all this Deha, Atma, whatever, this, all this Karya Karana Sanghata we say, correct? The Karya means the physical body is called Karya. Okay, this is another terminology. We keep saying this. So our body mind sense complex, like that we say in the English. Karya means this physical body is the result of karma. Correct? That's why it is called Karya. And Karana means instrument. All the mind and sense organs and organs of action are all called instrument because through that only you do karma. Correct? So the physical body itself is the result of karma, so it is called Karya. But to do karma through the body, you have to need mind and sense organs and organs of action. Correct? Without them, you cannot actually do anything. So they are all called Karana. But both of them are with reference to karma only. Karma only is actually everything for us. And in fact, from Ajnana, you think that you are a Karta Bhokta. Once you think that you are a Karta Bhokta, then you have to do karma. There is no other way. So this Ajnanam, Kama, Karma, like that is the progression we normally talk about. Ignorance, desire and action comes. Due to ignorance, you think you are a wanting being. Once you are a wanting being, you cannot but have desires to fulfill the wants. Once you have desire, you cannot but act on the desires, correct? That is how the progression is. But here what is being pointed out is, normally we identify ourselves with body, mind, sense complex, correct? That is the problem, that is the human problem in fact. But straight away what the Acharya is teaching you, I am the Atma who is separate from all these things, and because of whom all these things are functioning in the way it is functioning, correct? So the Deha Vyatiriktatvam of the Atma is straight away pointed out here by the Acharya. Okay, Atma is other than the Deha, etc. But what is its Swarupa? What is the nature? What is this Atma? Still you are not telling me. Means he is immediately telling that what? Nirasta Akhila Upadhihi Akasha Kalpaha. Kalpaha means it is like Akasha. Like Akasha means what? Akasha is all pervasive. Right? One thing we can understand, that space is all pervasive. Like that, this Atma also is all pervasive. Even though you think that you are bound in one particular body, mind, sense complex, that is not true. The Shastra Drishti is that you are really all pervasive only, like Akasha. But another important thing about the Akasha is what? It cannot be tainted also, correct? The Akasha cannot be tainted. Pollution can be only air pollution. It is not space pollution. Even though nowadays we talk about space pollution also in another context where all these satellites and other things are going and they are all sitting there. We don't know. There is too much traffic even in this orbit around Earth and all that. But anyway, but even then, nothing can really touch space or taint it. Like this Atma also is asangaha. It can never be tainted by anything. In fact, although we talk about papa, punya, karma, etc., Atma is not touched by any of that really. Understand that? Atma cannot be tainted. It can never be touched by any impurity at all. That's how it is pure. So this Akasha Kalpaha means both of these things we have to understand from that. Atma is not restricted by anything, nor it is tainted by anything. Because it is Nirasta Akhila Upadhihi, means it is not having any, without any Upadhi. When you look at the Atma, without any Upadhihi means conditioning factor, you can say in English. Or if you want a Sanskrita definition, so Upa Samipe. Upa again means Samipa only, like in Upanishad also we saw, correct? Upa means near. So Upa Samipe Tishtan Sviyan Dharman Adadati iti Upadhihi. That is the Sanskrita definition. Means what? Something is there near to another thing and gives its own qualities to the other things. Even though it is not really there in the other thing, the Upadhi is the one which stays near some other thing and gives its own qualities to the other thing. Like there is a crystal and a Japa Kusuma. Let us say a red flower is there near a crystal. Now if you look at the crystal, you think that it is red in color, correct? Because the flower is lending its color to the transparent crystal, let us say. The flower is the Upadhi there. Why? Because flower is lending, being near the crystal, it is lending its own color to the crystal. Although crystal really does not have that, correct? But it appears as though it is having. That is what is called a Upadhi. In English, I translate it as conditioning factor. It is my own translation. I don't know whether anybody else also uses it. Or some in English books and all, if you see, they translate it as some adjunctor. I think it's called adjunctor, whatever. But that's a weird word, I think. Better is, you can call it as a conditioning factor. Because it conditions the other thing as though, even though it is not really there, it makes it appear as though something which is not there is there. That is the idea of a Upadhi. So, here what are all the Upadhi? Atma Upadhi means Ajnana only is the first Upadhi. Understand that? Ignorance itself is the Mula Upadhi is that only. then from there everything else starts. That I am aham karta, aham bhokta, aham dehavan, aham manovan, all these things. I have this body, I have this mind, I have the senses, I am a doer, I am enjoyer. Everything is only wrong identification. So if you don't have any of this, all the upadhis, identification or whatever, the conditioning from the upadhi is gone. When it is nirasta, then it is akasha kalpaha. The reality of that is what? Only if you look at it from the upadhi standpoint, it looks as though it is restricted and it has all the whatever gunas it really does not have. You are imputing all those gunas to Atma and think there is a problem. But if you remove all the upadhis away, that is the viveka jnanam. Correct? Viveka jnanam is what? The ability to remove all this upadhi krita dharma and understand Atma as it is. Not whatever you think is Atma. It should be understood as it is. Then it is not having any taint, it doesn't have any problem. And also another analogy is given. How can you say this by its very presence, this Atma is able to make all these senses and mind and all function in the way they are functioning? How can you say that? Means the analogy. What is the Acharya giving? Ravir loka cheshta nimittam yatha. Like even the sun which is there, I told you, correct? Sun is there. In the presence of sun, the lotus bloom, let us say. So now we say the sun has now made the lotus to bloom. In one context you can say that. But if you go and ask the sun, did you really do anything? Means it will say, no, I didn't do anything. I was just shining, which also in fact is not an action because it is my very nature. Understand that. There is no kartritvam in the sun or anything. Even though we say that the sun made the lotus to bloom, sun lighted up everything, correct? Prakashayati, you can say, Suryaha Prakashayati. But in reality, that Prakashanam, Kriya did not start or anything, correct, at some point in time. It is always as it is. Why? Because that's what I told you, correct? Even Jnanam, the word, can only be used with reference to Atma. Otherwise, Jnana Kriya is the one which takes place in the mind. But that is also Upachara only. Figuratively, it is also called Jnana. The state of mind, whatever the modification in the mind which we call vritti, produces a cognition means. Even that cognition is produced because the Chaitanya manifests there. In that manovritti, because it manifests there, that manovritti also is called Jnana. Or vritti Jnanam it is called. But really speaking, vritti is of the mind, mind itself is jada. So you cannot really use Jnanam with the manovritti. But even then, we say that it is Jnanam because Jnanam. But there they will ask then, how can this, is the mind, Atma alone is actually, see, Tameva Bhantam Anubhati Sarvamanal we chant. When you go to the temple, what do you chant? Atatra Suryo Bhati na Chandra Tarakam Nema Vidyuto Bhanti Kuto Yamagni Tameva Bhantam Anubhati Sarvam Tasya Bhasa Sarvamidam Vibhati. So Tameva Bhantam Anubhati Sarvam. It is the only one which is really shining. Everything else is shining after. That means it is lighting up all these things. Means again it is not really doing any activity or anything. It is simply in its own presence everything is happening. Another analogy which normally we give is the analogy of magnet also. Magnet is still sitting there as it is. But if you put some iron filing and all that, they are whatever, they have their own some activity there. Correct? Once you bring an iron filing near the magnet, within the magnetic field, it has its some activity happens, but it happens just by the presence of the magnet. Need not do anything really. So like this, different analogies are given. So here, this is the analogy that in the mere presence of this Atma, all this Manas and Chakshuradi, they have their own pravritti, they are acting as whatever they are. So that Atma is Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupaha. Upalabdhi means again knowledge only. Upalabdhi means getting. Get word even in English is used for knowing, correct? Did you get it if I ask? It is not about physically getting also, but getting can also mean cognitive getting, correct? So Upalabdhi, Labha and Labdha means something which you have gained. But here the gain is in terms of knowledge, cognition. So again that cognition means the Upalabdhi Swarupa. It is of the nature of knowing or knowledge. And that is this Atma, I am this Atma. Therefore the Atma is the one which is the cause for all these minds and sense organs and bodies to act as they are acting. But again it does not do anything for that. By its mere presence only it is happening. That is what is said in the first verse. Okay, so the first verse is clear. Now the question. Okay, in fact, in the Bhashya also, anyway you have to always give connection between two verses, correct? So what is the Acharya giving connection? He is now asking, why should the mind require the presence of this Atma to do all these things? Why cannot the mind itself do? Scientists are all saying that only now, correct? Body itself is, some chemical reaction is happening in the brain, that is what is consciousness and all they are saying. In fact, scientists cannot even agree whether there is a mind or not. Understand that. Current scientific knowledge is that there are people who claim that there is no mind itself. They say mind is an epiphenomenon of matter. Matter alone is there. There is nothing called mind. Forget consciousness and all that which we are talking about. So, although there is a study of mind, etc., right? Psychology as a field, discipline of knowledge is there. But still, even among scientists, there is not even consensus that whether mind itself really exists as an entity or not. But of course, here also again we have Veda Pramanam for all these things. We say that mind is really there. In fact, it is subtle also, we say. For us, creation is not just physical, understand? It is not at only the matter level. Even mind is actually a substance for us, in the sense that it is not tangible, but it is intangible. It is subtle. That's what we say, Sukshma. So there is an entire Sthula Jagat, which is the physical or gross world, but then we also have Sukshma Jagat also is there. All the minds and sense organs and prana, all that put together is Sukshma for us. And then there is a Karana also, which is the unmanifest, which we talk about. So anyway, so here, why does all this mind and all, why can't they act by themselves? Why should it need this Atma as a Adhisthana? Like this, there is a question. So why should we even require this Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupa Atma as the Adhisthana for the mind, etc. to act? That is the question. So now that is being answered in the next verse. What is that? Let us see. Yam Agni Ushnavat Nitya Bodha Swarupam.
Yam Agni Ushnavat Nitya Bodha Swarupam.
Manas Chakshuradi Nyabodhatmakani.
Manas Chakshuradi Nyabodhatmakani.
Pravartanta Shritya Nishkampamekam.
Pravartanta Shritya Nishkampamekam.
Sanityopalabdhi Swarupohamatma.
Sanityopalabdhi Swarupohamatma.
I should settle on some tune, I think. Each time some tune is coming. So, Yam Agni Ushnavat Nitya Bodha Swarupam. Okay, so this Bodha Swarupa we said already. Even there the Acharya is now trying to give you some clarity, some analogy for you to understand. When we say that it is Bodha Swarupa, because in general, Bodha or knowing means we think it is only Jnana Kriya, correct? It is only an activity of knowing means. Even normally in the world, scientists also say that it is some chemical reaction or electrical reaction is happening in your brain that only produces cognition, correct? But if you go to whatever our Shastra, we say that mind goes out through the sense organs takes the form of the object. That is called manovritti. And in that manovritti, the Chaitanya, whatever is reflected or manifest, because of that only knowledge takes place. But even in that understanding, it is basically an action of mind, correct? Mind goes out, takes the form of the object. So that is the manovritti, or the whatever the activity of the mind. So jnana is only a kriya, and kriya means it is always having a start and an end, correct? It is transient. Any action is transient. It has to start, it has to end. You know, how are you saying it is nitya bodha and all that? What is this nonsense you are talking? How can it be eternal? And how can this bodha become swarupa? Is it? It is correct. Is it correct? Like this, there can be a question there also. So that also is answered here. No, this bodha, when we talk about jnanam or bodha or upalabdhi, all these things are synonymous. Understand that? They all of them come in two meanings, or in two ways we can understand them. One is in the vyavahara, yes, we agree there is a vritti jnana. Means the manovritti only is considered as jnana. But in reality, that is not true. The reality is that there is also something called swarupa jnanam. The jnanam which is one's own nature. It is not something beginning, nor it will end. It is beginningless and endless consciousness. Only the start and beginning and all is only for the manifestation of this consciousness in the modification of the mind. Correct? The manovritti is basically a modification of the mind. When the mind modifies and takes the form of an object, this consciousness is manifest in that. For that there is a beginning. But it is not something really, the consciousness also, it is like the light is there everywhere, correct? Always. Light rays are all there, sun rays are there everywhere, but you can focus it with a lens or whatever, let us say. So there is a special manifestation. That's all. That doesn't mean that the light rays, the sun has just now started its brightness or whatever, becoming bright or anything like that. It is always of the same nature. Or even like the fire is always of the same nature. It is hot and it is bright. Like that, this Atma also is always of the nature of consciousness, even though its manifestation in the mind has a start and end, correct? Which is what is called as vritti jnanam. Okay? And why does the mind and senses require this Atma for it to function is what is answered immediately. He says, this Atma is like this, it is Nitya Bodha Swarupa, but mind etc. are abodhatmakani, he says, correct? Manas chakshuradini abodhatmakani means they are all jada, they are not of the nature of bodha, means they are not conscious by nature, they are all only jada, they are insentient. How can you say that? Means whatever is drishyam is all jada, correct? That is the anumana used. Whatever is an object of knowledge cannot be conscious. It is always only jada, it is insentient. So that is the thing here. Since manas and chakshus, all these things including the body are all, they appear to be conscious, but not there. It is like the iron, lump of iron you take, it doesn't have heat by itself, correct? But if you heat it up, a red hot iron can burn you. But even there, that red hot iron, the heat in the iron is not iron's heat. It is the heat of the fire alone is there, correct? Like that, the body may appear conscious or sentient, etc. Mind may appear conscious. Senses may appear to be conscious. But all these things are nothing but the manifestation of Atma Chaitanyam in all these things. They are not conscious by their very nature. That is because they are known objects. Anything which is known is always jada. So that is what is pointed out here. Manas chakshuradini abodhatmakani. They are abodha. Means they are not of the nature of consciousness. They are only jada. That means. And so their pravritti can only be by the awareness of the child, Atma alone, they can become active, because without consciousness there cannot be any activity. The jada cannot act by itself. So pravartante ashritya, okay, nitya bodha swarupam ashritya. So yam nitya bodha swarupam ashritya pravartante nityam ekam sa nitya bodha upalabdhi swarupa aham atma. Like that we have to do the anvaya here. So this manas etc., which are by themselves not chetana, they all are engaged in different functions and activities by taking support of this atma, which is of the nature of Chaitanya. And the Atma itself, another two more words are used. Nishkampakam, Ekam. So the Ekam also is important here, correct? Because generally if you see, people may take that there are multiple consciousnesses, correct? Why? Because there are multiple sentient beings in the world. Why should there be only one consciousness? This is a valid, in fact, even Yoga Darshana, Sankhya Darshana, all of them take that there are multiple Purushas, but one Prakriti. For the Prakriti is one, but there are many Purushas. So even other Darshanas are taking like that. The Nayayikas also talk like that. They say that there are many Atmas are there for them also. But each one of those Atma are Vibhu. That is a funny thing. Each Atma is all pervasive. But there are many Atmas. Like this, they have their own theory. So all these theories are floating around, means you can get confused, correct? So you have to be now told there is only one, this whatever Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupaha, there are not many Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupa Atmas, but there is only one Ekam. Ekam is very important to understand. There is only one Atma, but by itself it does not do anything, correct? It is Nishkampakam. Kampa means some kind of a vibration, activity and all that. Because you say that this Atma is the Pravartaka, let us say. It is the one which is impelling. Because Kene Shitam Padati Preshitam Mana. Basically these are all based on the Kenopanishad only, correct? Kenopanishad, the question is asked. Impelled by whom? All this Kene Shitam Padati Preshitam Mana. The mind is actually engaged in its activity. Kena prana prathama praiti yuktaha kene shitam vacham imam vadanti chakshushrotram kaudevo yunakti. Like the first question itself about the mind and the sense organs and prana, all of them are active and functioning. Impelled by whom? Okay? Impelled by the presence of whom? That is the question. Then what is the answer? Shrotrasya shrotram manaso manoyaha vacho havacham sahu pranasya pranaha chakshusas chakshuratimsya dhiraha pretyasman lokat amrita bhavanti. Like that, the answer is there. Similar. So here, there also what we are saying, what is the answer? You cannot show Atma like an object, right? It is not an object which can be objectified and you can show it. So the only way the Shruti can tell is what? It is Shrotrasya Shrotram. It is the eye of the eye. Means it is the one which knows even whether the eye is functioning or not. It is the permanent eye, we have to say. In fact, Bhashikara in the Brihadaranyaka Bhashya, in Aitreya Bhashya and all that, he says that there are two types of drishti are there, he says. The normally whatever you think as sight as a phenomenon is a temporary phenomenon, correct? Because if you close your eyes, you cannot see something. Or if your eyes are not functioning correctly also, the sight is not working, you can say. But that is only the whatever, the temporary sight as a phenomenon which we talk about. But Atma's sight is permanent, because it is always, it is of the same nature. Whether your eyes are seeing or not, it still knows whether your eyes are seeing or not. It never stops. So that is what is explicitly said. In fact, we are dealing with that section in the Brihadaranyaka now, in the other class. Nahi drishtehe drashtaram, like that it says. The drishtehe drashtaram means what? The seer of the sight. For that what? Viparilopo na vidyate. It never stops. There is no stoppage for this sight. The sight of the Atma, which is the one which is actually seeing whether you are seeing or not, that sight of that Atma never comes to an end. It never stops, it never ceases. So the sight of the seer, the seer of the sight never ceases. Okay, like that we can put in English. Okay, it looks rhyming also. The seer of the sight never ceases. Why? Because it is avinashitva. It cannot be destroyed. Why it cannot be destroyed? Because it cannot be objectified at all. Is that clear? It is not an object. It's not even subjected to space-time. How can it be destroyed then? It is always of the same nature. It is invariable, unchanging. So it can never be destroyed. Therefore, this sight also is always permanent. That it is of the nature of consciousness. Once we say that conscious nature can never go away. It is always there as it is. That's what here also. It's all same teaching. Don't think it's all different. Only words are different. Vedanta is the same thing. And this Atma, but the Bhashya in that, this Nishkampakam, they give another meaning also. It is said that Nistarangam and Nishamshayam and all that. So this Atma without any doubt is Ekam. Like that it is also we can take. Nishkampakam means without any doubt. Means Vidyate hridaya grantihi chidyante sarva samshayaha Shiyante chasya karmani tasmin drishte paravare. Like that also there is a Mundaka Upanishad Bhakya is there. So this all the Ajnana, which is like a rope which is tying your heart in your mind. Basically Hridaya is intellect only, Buddhi. That is all broken, free, you are free now. How? Why? Because Chidyante sarva samshaya. All doubts are also destroyed. They are all cut asunder. They are all gone. When you see this one Atma, all the doubts, etc., and all the karmas are also destroyed. Shiyante chasya karmani. So we were talking about sanchita karma, agami karma, prarabdha karma and all that. All karmas are gone. There is nothing, there is no karma. You are not even a karta. There is the question of any karma. So like that, this Nishkampakam means, we can also, Nishkampam means we can take it as Nissamshayam. Ekam means doubtlessly one alone. There are no multiple Atmas or anything like that. There is only one Atma. And that one Atma itself is appearing in all the Upadhis as the knower. This is said in Gita also, correct? Yada prakashayat kyekaha kritsnam lokamimam ravihi kshetram kshetri tata kritsnam prakashayati bharata. Bhagavan also uses the same analogy. There is only one Ravi. In our class also there is only one Ravi. Okay, he is shining. Only he can sing. We all can listen to that. Correct? And maybe join in. But what I am saying is only one Ravi is there. Kritsnam lokam ekam ravihi prakashate. Like that, he says, there is only one kshetrakya. In all the kshetras, in all the body, mind, sense complex, this one kshetrakya alone is available as the knower. So that is the teaching here. There is only one consciousness. That is very important to understand. There are no multiple consciousnesses as proposed by other darshanas like Sankhya, Yoga, Nyaya Visheshika, all those people. So So this ekam is again a very important word for us. Further, what next verse we will go? मुखाभासको दर्पणे दृश्यमानः
मुखाभासको दर्पणे दृश्यमानः
मुखत्वात् पृथक्त्वेन नैवास्ति वस्तु
मुखत्वात् पृथक्त्वेन नैवास्ति वस्तु
चिदाभासको धीषु जीवोऽपि तद्वत्
चिदाभासको धीषु जीवोऽपि तद्वत्
सनित्योपलब्धिस्वरूपोऽहमात्मा
सनित्योपलब्धिस्वरूपोऽहमात्मा.
Okay, so now mukha abhasakaha. So abhasa means two meanings we can take for abhasa. Okay, one is a distortion. Abhasa means you can take it as a distortion or a reflection also you can take. In fact, many times a reflection is also a distortion. Depending on if it is a normal mirror, it is okay you can say. But if you look into a convex or a concave mirror, the reflection can be a distortion. But basically the idea is abhasaha means it is not reality. Understand that? It's only an appearance. And typically appearances are deceiving you or it is distorting the truth from you, correct? That's why it is an appearance. So now mukha abhasakaha is there. So in the mirror, again here ekam was said. The connection between previous and next is what? Previously it was said only there is only one atma, correct? Now how can we say there is only one atma when there are multiple sentient beings? That is what is being answered here. So it is like there is only one face and you go into a mirror house, let us say, correct? In fact, if you go to the Sandipini Sadhanalaya in Bombay, in Mumbai, whatever, no, Hawaii, so they have one building, like, what is it called? It is called, I think, Mahavakya Griham or Tattvamasi Griham or something like that. Okay? So you enter that, they have put all these different mirrors. So once you enter it, what you see so many reflections of yourselves, correct? In fact, there it is very difficult, you get disoriented also. You don't know where to go. In fact, you are supposed to go through that and come out of the room on the other side. And one another person came with me and she had, some people cannot handle that, correct? we had to literally take her out because
Delhi also Delhi museum illusion.
Maybe it is there somewhere else also. But the idea is that basically it is a distortion of the reality. So you are only one, but your reflection you see, so many are there. That doesn't mean you have become many, correct? It's only really, it is not. So the darpane drishyamana means what? Whatever is visible in the mirror, the mukha abhasa. Abhasa means basically here the reflection on the mirror. But it does not exist separately from your face, correct? The reflection cannot have a separate existence other than your face. So, mukhatvat prithaktvena naiva asti vastu. The vastu means the substance or the entity is only one, although it is appearing as so many different reflections. Like that, what? Atma is only one vastu. Ekam vastu. Although it is appearing as sentiency in so many different body, mind, sense complexes. Is that clear? So that is what, now this analogy is used in this verse to point out that Atma is only one. It was said Ekam before. Now again that is being clarified how it is only one. So Chidabhasakaha Dhishu Jivaha api Tadvate. So the analogy similar to that, it is now saying what? Chidabhasakaha means Chit is only one, but its abhasa is the one which is appearing in different minds as the awareness or sentiency. So that means the word Chidabhasa is used a lot because even see, we talk about knower, known and knowledge. correct? Or the means of knowledge, whatever. These three are required for any knowledge to take place. In that, who is the knower? Because Atma itself is not even the knower, we say. But then the knower is whom means, but knower cannot be mind also by itself, because mind is Jada. Then who is the knower means, we have to say it is the consciousness which manifests in the mind alone is the knower. Is that clear? That is how we understand that. So, the consciousness which is manifesting in the mind. Or in Sanskritam, we have a word for that. What is that? We say Antakarana Avachinna Chaitanyam is the knower, which is the Chidabhasa really. Antakarana Avachinna Chaitanya is the Avachinna means that which is defined by or limited by or conditioned by. All these things, whichever makes sense for you, you can use it. The consciousness which is conditioned by or defined by or limited by the entire mind, the Antakarana, is the knower. But for us, even the object is not separate from consciousness. So we also talk about a Vishaya Avachinna Chaitanya. Is that clear? Vishaya also is really only Chaitanya. Because consciousness means it is Sat Vastu only really. Sat alone is existing as all the other objects also. Sadeva Saumya Idam Agre Asik. We know that. And even now it is the same Sat Vastu only is lending its existence to each and every object. Therefore, there is a Vishaya Avachinna Chaitanya where Sat is manifest. In mind, in the Antakarana, both Sat and Chit are manifest, you can say. Because mind is also aware. Both awareness and existence are clearly manifest in the mind, so it is the knower. In the Vishaya also the same conscious is manifest, but it is manifest only as the Sad Amsha only is clear there. Okay, it is Pashta. And then what about the means of knowledge or the Pramana? The Tripudi, the third thing also is important. Without that, knowledge cannot take place. That is the Manovritti we say. That part of the mind which goes out and takes the form of the object is the Manovritti. In that also consciousness is manifest. Now, when does direct knowledge take place? Means whenever the mind takes the form of the object, we say. Then only direct knowledge takes place, direct perception takes place. It is like, so this is the point you have to understand. One part is there here, let us say. So this part is qualifying a particular space, part space. Even though space itself cannot be really divided or anything, or it's not tainted or it is not divisible, but from the standpoint of the part, we say that there is a part space here. Then there is another part space here. This is like the mind, correct? Mind is there separately and it is conditioning consciousness. Objects are there separately, it is conditioning consciousness. If it is like this, there is no direct knowledge. Knowledge will not take place because this part space is separate from this part space. When does knowledge take place? When it comes together. One part goes into the other means they both are now conditioning the same space. So when the mind goes out and takes the form of the object, Manovritti and the object are now conditioning the same Chaitanya. The Vritti Avachinna Chaitanya and Vishaya Avachinna Chaitanya become Abhinna, become one and the same. Is that clear? Then direct perception happens. This is our theory of knowledge. Okay, you have to be clear. That's when Pratyaksha Jnanam takes place. If that doesn't happen, you can still have only indirect knowledge, correct? Because, for example, I say I see the smoke and I say there is fire. Smoke is Pratyaksha because your mind can go out and objectify the smoke. But fire you never see. But you, because of whatever prior knowledge of invariable concomitance, correct? That's what in Sanskritam we call it Vyapti. In English you can say invariable concomitance. Even invariable concomitance may be difficult for some of you. Invariable concomitance means two things are always happening together. Okay. Correct? If there is smoke, there has to always be fire. This is called Anvaya. Anvaya means what? If one thing is there, the other thing has to be always there. That is called Anvaya or concomitance, you can say. Correct? One level of concomitance is, if smoke is there, there has to always be fire. Then Vyatireka is what? If fire is not there, smoke can never be there. That is the Vyatireka. Both have to be true. Then only the inference can be always correct. Understand that. If the smoke can be produced by more than one cause, means then you cannot pinpoint and say it is only due to fire, correct? Or you cannot infer fire alone is there. Therefore, both Anvaya and Vyatireka together, you have to have an understanding. Then only the Vyapti Jnanam is there, we say. Already you should have the knowledge of the Vyapti. Then only you can do Anumana. But even after doing Anumana, the knowledge of the fire is only indirect. Why? Because that fire is not available for your mind directly. It is indirect knowledge, Anumana. You can of course go there and further see and make it direct knowledge. That's up to you. So that is the Pratyaksha and Paroksha Jnanam, we say, with reference to knowledge. So anyway, so here also, having understood all these things, that Chaitanyam which is manifest or which is conditioned by your entire mind is the knower, it is the Chidabhasa. That is what you think is the sentient being and all that. The being who is aware. Like that there are many beings are there. That doesn't mean Chaitanyam itself is many. It is one Chaitanyam alone which is appearing in each and every mind as the knower. Like even one face is appearing in multiple mirrors as all the whatever reflection. And all these reflections are not separately existing from the Bimba. The Pratibimba cannot exist separately from the Bimba. Bimba alone is really existing. Similarly here also, all these appearances of so many knowers, they don't really exist separately from one consciousness. One consciousness alone exists here, and that is Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupoham Atma, and that is me. Okay, always you have to come back to that. Don't think that consciousness means something else is sitting somewhere. Aham Atma, it is me. I am the one who is always there as this consciousness, who is also manifest in each and every body, mind, sense complex as the knower, as the Chidabhasa, as the Jiva, as the individual. In fact, correct? Knower is the individual basically. In fact, this is also said in the Brihadaneka in so many words. It says, Nanyad atosti drashta, Nanyad atosti manta. Like that it keeps on. There is nothing other than this Atma which is really the drashta. Each and every, wherever this phenomenon of knowing happens or seeing happens, actually the seer is only this Atma alone, because Atma alone is lighting up the Manovritti due to which this knowledge takes place or a cognition takes place. So, really speaking, Atma alone is the cognizer. There is no separate cognizer other than this Atma. So, there is only one Atma, which is myself. Okay, rest of the things we will see in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purna Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Namaha. Hari Om.